Carolyn Rush. Born and raised in southern New Jersey, I'm the sixth of 7 children from a working-class family. My father was a union tradesman, and my mother was a stay-at-home mom. Today, I'm a Sea Isle City resident, a mother of 5 grown children with 5 grandchildren. I earned a degree in computer science from Montclair State University and began a career as a software engineer, moving into management and later into systems engineering. During my 3 decades of engineering, I have honed my problem-solving skills. As a manager, I honed my people skills. With a knack for explaining things, I encourage better listening and comprehension from my audience by breaking complex issues into basic elements and helping people understand all sides of interrelated issues. I've always voted and cared deeply about politics, but I never really considered myself politically active. Frankly, I've steered clear of discussing politics with most friends, colleagues, and even some family members. However, the appalling and calamitous events of the past 5 years and the grave ongoing threat to the very survival of our democracy, specifically our voting rights, dictate that I can remain silent no longer. The first time I even considered running for office was when I attended a women's march in D.C. after the election of Donald Trump. There were many inspiring speeches given by an array of brilliant women. They encouraged the assembled protesters to be the change they wanted to see. I started wondering if they were talking to me. The seed had been planted. The following year, I attended the March for Our Lives in D.C. Again, we listened to many inspiring speeches, this time given by young people who had been affected by gun violence. The march was shortly after the school shooting at Marjory Stoneman Douglas. As I listened to their impassioned pleas, I thought for sure our legislators would pass laws to curb gun violence. When all we got were thoughts and prayers, I became determined to do something. I decided to be the change that I wanted to see. My personal values and professional skill sets, a combination of clear-eyed analytics and collaborative problem-solving, developed over 3 decades, make me ideally qualified to play a productive role in Congress. So much of the gridlock and dysfunction that epitomizes D.C. is driven by inflexible, soundbite-sized ideologies and the mistaken notion that even a hint of cooperation equals absolute surrender and will outrage the base. The primary responsibility of Congress is to pass legislation to benefit Americans. If the members of Congress cannot pass meaningful bipartisan legislation, are they really earning their salaries? There are too many pressing problems. Our legislators need to legislate. As Democrats, we must improve our messaging to rightly retake the mantle as defenders and advocates for blue-collar, working-class Americans. We are at our best when we are inspired to cooperate. The fight for racial and economic justice in America is urgent. I'm eager to reshape our economy to address the absurd levels of wealth inequality we've somehow come to see as normal. If there's one thing that Americans do agree on, it's the notion of justice. The stability of our democracy is under attack like no other time. I support H.R. 1, the For the People Act. I will fight tirelessly to ensure free, fair, and inclusive elections. I strongly support the passage of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. I fully support the Build Back Better social infrastructure programs that provide child tax credits, universal pre-K, family leave, climate investments, expanded health care coverage, and affordable housing. I'm absolutely committed to curbing the effects of climate change. Spending on tech innovations to fight climate change grows the economy by creating jobs in sectors that pay good wages. All Americans, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity, must be treated equally under the law. It's time we end discrimination against LGBTQ Americans. Neither party has a monopoly on good ideas, and it's essential that members of Congress keep their minds open to address what often seems to be insurmountable challenges. When I get to D.C., I will encourage Democrats to find the good in Republicans' bills. I will encourage Republicans to find the good in Democrats' bills. Where there's disagreement, I will use my persuasive skills to encourage compromise. Where compromise is not possible, I will work to remove only the portion where agreement cannot be found. I will work tirelessly to pass the good parts. I will not let pursuit of the perfect become the enemy of the good, and I will not let good ideas wither on the vine.